You've probably said yes to something you regret at least once in your life. But for some people, it's more than just a slip-up. It's a pattern, an instinct, and it's destroying their life piece by piece. You've heard of the phrase people pleaser. That person who can't turn anyone down, who will sacrifice their own well-being for the sake of someone else's needs. But have you ever stopped to think about why they can't say no? It's not just about being nice or polite. It's deeper. It's rooted in a psychological maze that is designed to keep them in a constant state of sacrifice. Let's break this down. When you're always saying yes to others, it feels like you're doing the right thing. It feels like you're being generous, helpful. But here's the dirty little secret no one tells you. Every time you say yes when you don't want to, you're feeding a part of your brain that thrives on approval, the people-pleasing circuit. You're creating a feedback loop that tells your brain, this is who I am now, and you become addicted to that sense of validation. It's almost like a drug. And just like any addiction, the more you feed it, the more it takes from you. But here's where it gets dangerous. The biology of people-pleasing is pretty straightforward. When you say yes to someone else's needs, your body releases a hit of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It makes you feel good, like you're building connections, like you're part of something. It's designed to make you feel that way. But what people don't talk about is the long-term cost. The more you feed into the cycle, the more you start ignoring your own needs. You get used to living for others, and over time, you forget what it feels like to prioritize yourself. The first thing that starts to happen is burnout. You're exhausted, emotionally drained, and yet the people-pleasing voice in your head won't stop. It tells you, you can't disappoint them, they need you. But here's the problem. You're running on empty. You're filling up everyone else's cup, but your own is bone dry. And when you can't say no, you get trapped in a cycle of constant obligation. Every time someone asks you for help, you automatically say yes, without even thinking about the impact on your mental or physical health. You think you're helping, you think you're being good, but you're not. You're being destructive to yourself. This is where the psychological damage starts to set in. Constantly putting others' needs before your own creates a deep sense of resentment. But it's a silent kind of resentment, the kind you're not even aware of until it's too late. You start to feel like your life is not yours anymore. You lose your sense of autonomy. You don't even know what you like anymore because you've been so focused on what everyone else needs. And that's when the emotional toll really hits. You start feeling trapped, like you're suffocating under a mountain of obligations, none of which you really agreed to. Sure, you said yes, but you didn't say yes to the feeling of being overwhelmed. That wasn't in the fine print. And here's the kicker. When you're in this constant state of people-pleasing, it impacts your relationships, but not in the way you think. On the surface, everything might look fine. You're the helpful friend, the dependable coworker, the perfect partner. But deep down, the truth is you're not really being yourself. You're a version of yourself that's been sculpted by everyone else's demands, and that version of you is hollow. There's no authenticity left. People might appreciate you, but they're not connecting with the real you. They're connecting with the version of you that has learned to say yes to avoid conflict and to gain validation. And that's exhausting.
Now, you're probably thinking, but I don't want to be a bad person. I want to help. And that's where the real trap lies. The truth is, helping people isn't the problem. In fact, it's a noble thing to do. The problem is doing it at the expense of your own mental health, boundaries, and well-being. You can't keep giving from an empty well. You can't keep sacrificing yourself without breaking down. And that breakdown is inevitable. It will manifest in ways you can't control. Anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, resentment, even physical ailments like headaches and digestive issues. What you don't realize is that every time you say yes, you're teaching the people around you that you have no limits. You're conditioning them to believe that you'll always be there, no matter how much it costs you. And guess what? That's not a healthy dynamic. It's a one-way street, and you're the one doing all the driving. And the problem doesn't just stop at other people. it goes deeper. You start losing respect for yourself. You begin to feel like you don't deserve your own boundaries, like your own needs don't matter. You become your own worst enemy. The very thing that makes you want to please others starts to erode your sense of self-worth. So, what can you do about it? How do you escape this endless cycle? The first step is realizing that saying no isn't an act of selfishness. It's an act of self-preservation. You have to start recognizing that your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth are limited resources. Saying no isn't about rejecting others. It's about protecting yourself from becoming a shell of who you truly are. And the truth is, you can't help anyone if you're not taking care of yourself first. But here's the tough part. Breaking free from the people-pleasing trap is like detoxing from a drug. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to feel guilty at first. You're going to feel like you're letting people down. But that's the lie you've been told your whole life, that your worth comes from constantly helping others. Your worth comes from being true to yourself, from setting healthy boundaries, from saying no when you need to, and recognizing that your own needs are just as important as anyone else's. The second step is learning how to set boundaries. And no, boundaries aren't about being mean or harsh. They're about being clear. They're about showing people that you value yourself and your time. When someone asks for your help, ask yourself, do I have the emotional or physical capacity for this right now? If the answer is no, it's okay to say it. In fact, it's necessary. You don't owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing your own well-being. But the hardest part? The real breakthrough comes when you realize that you can't change your behavior overnight. It's going to take time to unlearn the patterns you've built up over years. But the good news is, with each no, with each boundary you set, you get a little stronger. You start to feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. You start to reclaim the life you've been giving away for so long. And when that happens, something incredible occurs. You start finding peace. Peace in knowing that you're enough, just as you are, and that you don't need to be everything to everyone in order to be loved and appreciated. So the next time someone asks you for a favor, don't think of it as an obligation. Think of it as a choice. Your choice. And remember, saying no isn't the end of the world. It's the beginning of taking control of your life.